You know, some of the greatest discoveries in history, they don't start with a bang. Sometimes it's just a whisper, or in this case, a faint, unexpected glow in a dark room. So let's get into the incredible story of the man who literally saw through walls. Okay, picture this. It's November 8th, 1895. We're in Würzburg, Germany, inside a physics lab. A 50-year-old physicist is working late, tinkering with cathode rays, beams of electrons in a vacuum tube. And the lab, it's pitch black. The perfect stage for something that's about to change the world. All of a sudden, he sees something that just shouldn't be happening. Across the room, a screen coated with a special chemical starts to glow. But wait a second. The tube he's working with is completely covered in thick black cardboard. No light should be getting out. But something is. Something is passing straight through the cover. Some kind of new unknown ray. That one moment, that mysterious new ray, would go on to redefine medicine, physics, our entire understanding of the world. But to really get the discovery, you have to get the man who made it. And this is him, Wilhelm Conrad Roentgen. Now, his path to becoming one of the most important scientists in history was anything but a straight line. In fact, his whole academic career almost ended before it even really began. Yeah, long before we're talking about Nobel Prizes, Roentgen was a total scholastic underdog. His journey started with a huge setback, the kind of thing that would have stopped most people right in their tracks. That's right, he was expelled from his technical school, kicked out. The story goes that a classmate drew a caricature of a teacher and he got blamed for it. But Roentgen, he refused to name the real artist. He took the fall. And just like that, with no diploma, the doors to all the German universities were slammed shut. But here's the thing about Roentgen. He was persistent. He found a loophole. The Swiss Federal Polytechnic in Zurich didn't care about a diploma if you could pass their entrance exam, so he did. And just 6 years after being expelled, he had a PhD in physics. Talk about a comeback. And that same grit, that same determination, it really shaped his whole career. He wasn't just smart. He was methodical, incredibly precise and thorough. Basically the perfect personality for an experimental physicist. So he started climbing the ladder in German academia. He went from being an assistant at Würzburg to a professor at Strasbourg, then chair of physics at Gießen. He was building this stellar reputation, step by step, which eventually brought him right back to Würzburg in 1888, this time as the head of its prestigious physics institute. So what was he actually like? Well, people said he was pretty introverted, sober, and modest. But don't let that fool you. His mind was razor sharp. He was known as an acute observer and a most scrupulous scientist. And that is the key, isn't it? That's the kind of person who notices a faint glow in a dark room and thinks, wait a minute, what is that? And in Würzburg, the lab he inherited was, well, a scientist's dream. It was absolutely state-of-the-art. It was built to minimize vibrations, it was shielded from electric fields, it even had its own independent power supply. For a guy like Roentgen, this was the perfect playground. Over the years, he methodically gathered the exact tools he needed for cutting-edge research. A high-voltage generator, instruments to study what we now call radio waves, and crucially, a really powerful vacuum pump. All the pieces were finally on the board. So let's go back to that fateful night in November 1895. You've got the right man in the right place with exactly the right tools. A chance observation was about to become a full-blown revolution. So was it just luck? Well, there's that wonderful word for it, serendipity. But this wasn't just a lucky break. This was serendipity crashing head-on into decades of preparation. Roentgen had the freedom to follow his curiosity and, more importantly, the expertise to understand exactly what he was seeing. The impact was immediate and absolutely explosive. The news spread like wildfire. In 1896 alone, just the year after the discovery, over 1,000 scientific papers were published on what Roentgen humbly called X-rays, with X standing for unknown. And this is why everyone went crazy. A few weeks after his discovery, he took an X-ray of his wife Anna Bertha's hand. And there it was. For the first time in human history, we could see the bones inside a living person. Can you imagine? It must have seemed like pure magic. That one image instantly showed the entire world the incredible power of this discovery. But the story doesn't end there. Because in some ways, what Roentgen did next is just as remarkable as the discovery itself. It reveals everything about the principles of a truly great scientist. And this is the crucial point. Roentgen firmly believed that scientific knowledge belonged to everyone. People urged him to patent his discovery. I mean, he would have become incredibly wealthy, but he refused. He said his findings belonged to the public, not to some company. And he put his money where his mouth was. He never sought to profit from X-rays, and when he was awarded the very first Nobel Prize in physics in 1901, he donated all the prize money to his university. He literally gave his discovery to the world. And that brings us back to serendipity. You see, it wasn't just about finding something valuable by accident. For Roentgen, the true value was unlocked by his principles. The incredible luck of the discovery was matched only by the generosity of his character, which ensured it would benefit all of humanity. Roentgen's story leaves us with a pretty critical question for today. He had the time, the freedom, and the support to just follow his pure, childlike curiosity. But in today's world of high-pressure grants and constant demands for immediate results, do we still create enough space for that kind of playful exploration that could lead to the next X-ray? It's definitely something to think about.